Yes, how's it going, everyone? Unexpected update for you today. How's it going? If you just tuned in, hello Neil McDonald, hello Claire, hello Cassie, hello Shell Bell, hello. Do you know, I've done nothing but think about this case. That's all I've been doing. That's all I can think about. And I think some more stuff has come to me. And I know that, hello Alex, hello. And I know, I'm not going to look at the comments for a minute, right? Because I've got stuff here that I need to take you through. So hello if you've just tuned in, everyone. And I don't know whether you know or not, but part 2 of this video was taken down today. You'll notice it's not there no more. I've got a screenshot on my phone about it. And it is to do with, I don't know, harassment or bullying. They're pretty vague, their terms and conditions, and so they've removed it, but my channel's not had a strike. So I mean, what the question that we ask is, what about that video has got it removed? Because we were going through, I know there's some theory involved here, because we're trying to work out like what the fuck happened, and someone's going around cleaning up after me, and I can only assume it's Puddick at this point, because he obviously don't like the screenshots, which get everyone questioning what the fuck is going on now. And so something that occurred to me, right? I was talking to Nikki Cooper again earlier, and she's in the same place with this as I am, and we are trying to work out what parts of this case are real and what parts are the bit that they've made up in order to cover up the truth. And I think we're getting there now. So I'm going to turn this music right down over here. All right, because that's it. Let me just get rid of that. So what you can see on the screen at the minute is the walk that Millie would have taken from Heathside School to Weybridge Station in order to get on the train, in order to go to Walton, where she doesn't usually get off. I think if it's not that, it normally would have been the stop after, or a couple of stops after, because it's only like 3/4 of a mile up the road from the station. So my belief on this story now, after looking into this even more, I've come to the conclusion that I do believe the train station footage has been manipulated, and you've all seen that. There's like an oval around Millie, and the rest of it is all blanked out. Now, obviously, she had the same school uniform. She'd have looked the same most days, yeah. But what I'm see, the train station and the school are two different things. I don't believe at this point right now today that it's gone the way that we thought with regards to her getting killed a couple of days before. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because I think it would have been too much of a job. I think you had to make her go to school that day. And I believe, and let me just find the calendar. I've got a calendar here, right? And on this calendar, you will see that March 2002, the day she goes missing, the official story, that would have been a Thursday. the 21st. Millie goes missing. Now, I'm trying to piece together what would have really happened. Because and as you can see on that calendar, had this have been a weekend coming up, but it wasn't. She's been in school all week, right? Unless anyone has got information otherwise, yeah? I'm pretty sure there's too many pupils in that school and too many people in each individual class that you go to as a pupil. You know, there's going to be you and at least 10 to 15 others in that class, isn't there? Yeah, probably more now. I don't know. It's probably overcrowded now. So in each subject that you go into, English, maths, you know, you might have double geography, you might have history, chemistry or whatever, yeah? It would have been too much to have a go missing a couple of days before, because you would have had to account for, well, did Millie phone in sick? You know, why wasn't she in the couple of days before that? So I was looking to see if it was a like it's fallen on the Thursday, so it's midweek. She must have been to school all week. She must have been to school that day. She must have been. But here's where the story changes. I don't believe that when she left the school, she ever made it to the train station. This is where I believe the manipulation of the footage begins. And that is by showing us Millie at the train station on that day. That takes away any suspicion of you thinking anything happened before that. I'm going to get to that, right? Because what I've got up on the screen here now is a picture of Heathside School, right? So you go along here. So I thought, let me have a look and see where this school is, where it's situated, and what it looks like around it as you come out. So you would have come out them front doors over there, walked down here, and Millie would have gone in this direction, right? And let me just go back to the main picture, which you can see there. So you can see this is the journey from Heathside School to Weybridge Station. And it is, well, in a car, they're saying 4 minutes, 0.8 miles, right? So it's roughly about the distance that Millie's house would have been from Walton Station, probably. So she comes out of Heathside School. She went to school that day. If they were going to get rid of her, have her in school that day, right? It's going to be easy. There's no suspicion. Oh, she didn't go to school that day. So, and I believe, and I'm sorry, I don't believe it's just the father solely. I don't just believe it's him. It's much bigger than that. A cover up of this size ain't just going to happen to protect one bloke just because he's a Mason. I'm sorry. It's bigger than that. And in this area, you've got, at this time, Max Clifford, Jimmy Savile at Duncroft Girls' School, just down the road. In Weybridge here, you've got Cliff Richard living there. You've got the Walton Hop, Jonathan King, very prevalent in this case, right? I'm suggesting. Jonathan King, Chris Denning, 2 convicted paedophiles there. And then Max Clifford and everyone else. Don't forget, if we're going to, half believe everyone's story here with regards to Belfield and even the Payne family. I mean, Michael Payne and Levi Belfield, allegedly, according to the mainstream press, were drinking partners and neighbours. And they drunk in that Walton, whatever it was called, that pub on the corner, the one that we went in. And you've got all of these people, but look at all of the celebrity main paedophilic names that you know about, all in that area. Jonathan King being one of the main ones. And you may say, well, no, he lives in Bayswater, but what, you think he ain't got links to the Walton Hop? Been going there since 1958. Yeah, all of his friends come from now. What's to say he doesn't know Bob Dowler? What's to say? Right, so you've got all these paedophiles down there, but it's this lone wolf, yeah? Levi Belfield. It's got nothing to do with all these other big names that are in the area at the time. It's got nothing to do with them. Well, I don't believe that. And I'll tell you why. Because the News of the World were phone tapping Millie Dowler. If you're phone tapping someone, it means they're alive. Phone hacking and phone tapping are two different things. Phone hacking is the listening to of voicemail messages, which we know was Glenn Mulcair's side of things. The phone tapping was down to people like Conrad Brown and Mazza Mahmood and Robert Kellaway, who's bylined on Millie's story that brought the newspaper down. They are the people that they get to go and do the phone tapping. Now, we know from the mainstream articles from 2002 that Bob Dowler was under suspicion by the police. And the head of police, or the DCI, in charge of the case, his name was Stuart Gibson. And you can see by the articles, the police were hell-bent on it being Bob Dowler. And I believe that they had it right first time. But it's not just about Bob Dowler. But yes, they had it right first time. So, the News of the World are phone tapping Millie. We know they were phone tapping Bob because they bugged him, and they bugged his car, and they bugged the house. But that's once Millie had gone, was missing. We're talking about beforehand. And I'm going to take you back to Greg Miskell's phone conversation with me, bearing in mind he was the news editor of the time. And then 2 weeks apart, he was the news editor on my story, and sent all of the same journalists to do me, to phone hack me and phone tap me. Now, this is in 2002. But Greg Miskell, and I'm going to play you his conversation with me again, and listen very carefully to what he says, because we've all missed this. We've all missed this. I'm going to bring it up for you now. Protecting Kellaway because of the link. Because of the link between Conrad and Mazza. Come on, man.
No. I couldn't care a flying fuck about Conrad and
Well, I do, because they're very detrimental to my case. And even though you may not, all of these people are all part and parcel of this case. And don't forget, Greg, there's no limitation on criminal. Right? There's no limitation on criminal.
You were targeted, right?
I was targeted. Then, and really, that's outrageous.
So what you're talking about here is something that happened 16 years ago.
Right, so now he's distancing himself here now. My case was only 2 weeks apart from Millie Dowler. Right? He's saying, what you're talking about 16 years ago. Right? But listen to what he says.
Now, my recollection of something that happened 16 years ago is pretty slim, frankly.
Right, pretty slim, he reckons. But he knows the far end of a fart with what happens to Millie. But it's what he says in that to me that I want you to hear.
Now,
Greg, you know my job, mate. Come on. Oh, right, let's find it. And now you've got hacked off. Who's he from? My
was green.
Right, here we go. Felbeck, Millie's number on the day she went missing. I've had that. Now I know that Surrey old Bill, right, who gave Neville Felbeck Millie Dowler's number. Surrey old Bill around the corner from my ex-wife and their family, Reg Carnegie, who's a Freemason. Right, and he kept in the background on that. Now, Surrey old Bill
gave Felbeck Millie's number on the day she went missing. I've had that out of Glenn. He's been in my house and admitted it.
No, Brian, they didn't.
Well, why is he saying that then? If that's not true, because it.
And after watching the Leveson inquiry the other day, and the Dowlers, who's their barrister? David Sherborne. He was my barrister. So why hasn't he shown the Dowlers Kellaway's police witness statement? The journalist that was bylined on your daughter's story that supposedly brought the paper down, and Sherborne's trying to get me to take 20 grand to go away, and he's not telling them about it. And also, they didn't get on to me, Sherborne and Mallets and that, until the 24th of April, January, February, March, April 2012. The Leveson inquiry was all done in 2011, wasn't it? So they come to me after the Leveson inquiry. That's good, isn't it? That's good. It's good. You come to me afterwards, because it's all been dealt with then. But what is David Sherborne was the one representing them. I cannot believe that he had, and it's not like he wouldn't have even known back then. I can't believe he hasn't shown them Kellaway's statement. That is because it can't go like that, because this whole Millie Dowler story is a lie. It's a fucking lie. She's real. She's been killed, but not in the way that you've been told. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. That's what all this is about, right? It's what all this is about. Now listen to what Greg says.
Goes against the official story that they've put out and makes everyone look like a liar, Greg.
It's not. Listen, I mean, I know the far end of a fart.
The far end of a fart. A minute ago, a story 16 years ago, he can't remember nothing to do with, because it's mine. Yeah, he's got to play dumb to my case.
About Millie Dowler. And I know exactly what happened, and I know exactly how the information was gleaned, and I know the workings of what happened after her, well, before and during and after her phone was tapped. It had nothing to do with Surrey Police.
Right, so she was phone tapped, and that has never come out.
Right. So, few things wrong with that. First of all, when you phone tap someone, they're alive. You phone tap people that are alive, yeah? You may phone hack their voicemail messages, but if you phone tap someone, they're alive when you're phone tapping them, yeah? It's safe to say that, isn't it? So why the news of the world tapping a 13-year-old schoolgirl's phone? Answer me that. And the other thing that he says is, I know the workings of when she was, before, during, and after. Before what, Greg? Before what? Because I thought you lot came into this and it was to help try and find her, no? Before what, Greg? And you know the workings, how the information was gleaned, and you know all the workings, but you can't remember my case, which really is a part of this case. It's convenient. You can't remember mine. Yeah, do it. This guy's dead now. And never before has it been admitted that Millie Dowler was phone tapped. So, let me tell you how I believe this went. You remember the Jonathan King story? I've showed it to you multiple times. I won't bring it up again. Jonathan King ran VIP pedophile ring for perverts, right? Basically, he was running a very, very high-end pedophile ring, which contained all of the people that we spoke about, right? You know they are. He was running that. Now, in 2001, Jonathan King got done. He had an expose done on him, and he went to prison for 7 years. 2001. Right. So, who done the story? Mazza Mahmood. And it says in that article that the police showed these lot, meaning Mazza and Conrad, the 700-page dossier that they had regarding Jonathan King and his paedophile ring. So I think that explains what takes the news of the world to Walton-on-Thames. And who are they phone tapping? Millie Dowler. Why? Why are you phone tapping Millie Dowler so fresh off the back of Jonathan King? So much so that in the covering up of the case, you bring in DCI Jeremy Payne, who found Roy Whiting for the Paynes, didn't question Levi Belfield in conjunction to the Sarah Payne disappearance and murder, but he was drinking partners with Belfield up until 2004, they say, until his flat was cordoned off and Michael Payne was devastated. Bullshit. How much more bullshit do you want to roll out? So, I'm telling you that Jonathan King and his high-end paedophile ring are the reason that Kellaway, Conrad Brown and Mazza Mahmood were in Surrey in 2002. Not only when they were hacking me, because my ex-wife's parents lived there, 7 miles from the Dowlers, in fact, 7 miles away from the Dowlers, and my ex-wife's parents are on the actual hacking notes. Is there any relationship there? Dunno, but everyone's carried on a bit cagey towards me. Yeah, could be to do with the fact my ex-wife's dad is a Freemason and goes to the Surrey Lodge and would know people of the likes of Sir Mark Rowley, head of Surrey Police, turned his back on the phone hacking in 2005 and got promoted for it. He would know people like that. And it would be people like that that will be calling in people like DCI Jeremy Payne on the Millie Dowler case. Why? Because he helped put Jonathan King away in 2001. Oh. So the copper that was working with Mazza Mahmood and Conrad Brown on the Jonathan King case, even though Jonathan King has got ties to Walton-on-Thames like the Walton Hop with other convicted paedophiles, and everyone else that was down there in that area, Saville and Cliff Richard and everyone else who's being suspected, but we're meant to believe it's this Levi Belfield. And this is lies. Levi Belfield is a covert human intelligence resource, all factual, all printed in the mainstream media. And it is factual that DCI Stuart Gibson from Surrey Police suspected Bob Dowler enough to have him phone tapped by their friends at the News of the World. It says that they done a anti-terrorist style surveillance on him. That means they sent in Conrad and Mazza and Kellaway. Right? Why would you tap a 13-year-old schoolgirl's phone? Because you knew she was part of Jonathan King's paedophile ring. I suggest. You tell me I'm wrong. It's got nothing to do with all these paedophiles down in Walton. It's this lone wolf, Levi Belfield, yeah? Now, I'm not saying that somewhere down the line, Bob Dowler could have known Levi Belfield. I mean, he was a police intelligence resource. What's to say Roy Whiting wasn't a police covert human intelligence resource? What are these covert human police intelligence resources anyway? And what do they do? Do they take the rap for crimes that they didn't do? Like, it must be. Because they've done this a few times. I noticed a case against Jonathan King fell apart in 2018. And you had Andrew Ash talking him up a few years before that. Oh, Jonathan King were there. Was that going to help his case fall apart? Because his case is going to lead back to the VIP paedophile ring that Mazza found out about. So you seriously want me to believe that the News of the World's investigations into this paedophile ring didn't take them to Walton-on-Thames because of Jonathan King? And then when you get to Walton-on-Thames, according to Greg Miskill here, you know, I know the workings before, during and after. What before? What before, Greg? There was no before, was there? Before what? What you mean is you knew the whole plan as to how they were going to do this. The News of the World have been witness to Millie being murdered and covering it up and help concoct a story along with the police, the Murdoch. They've concocted this story, and I'm going to break this story down for you. And I'm going to show you what I believe did and didn't happen. So going on what, this ain't small, this guy's dead here, Greg Miskill, news editor of Millie Dowler and me, 2 weeks apart at the News of the World, knows everything, has admitted to the world. It's never been admitted anywhere else, only here, and you can hear him, and he's dead now. I believe because of this. Sorry, I believe because of what he said, because he's caused everyone a lot of problems now. The news editor has said out of his own mouth, I know the inner workings of when Millie Dowler was phone tapped. Why were you phone tapping a 13-year-old schoolgirl before, during and after? Do you seriously expect me to believe that your investigation into Jonathan King's paedophile ring doesn't involve Millie Dowler and Bob Dowler and that whole family and other families? Many of them. You seriously expect me to believe that? Well, I don't. And let's just hear it one more time.
I mean, I know the far end of a fart about Millie Dowler, and I know exactly what happened, and I know exactly how the information was gleaned, and I know the workings of what happened after her, well, before and during and after.
There it is.
Her phone was tapped. It had nothing to do with Surrey police.
Right, so she.
And I like the way he just tries to bail Surrey police out at the end. It had everything to do with them, I suspect. Everything. And that would have been why Surrey police let the News of the World, along with all the other police, let the News of the World destroy all that evidence. Rebecca Brooks. Destroy all that evidence. And no perverting the course of justice charges, nothing. Nothing. Why? Because it was in everyone's interest for that information to get destroyed. Because in it contains Jonathan King's paedophile ring and Millie Dowler's involvement within it. And she was going to say something, mate. She was going to say something. And that girl got killed. And I've sat back and I've watched the authorities cover it up. And then I've watched them cover up my case because it's so close to Millie's. And that's it. And that's it. And that's it. That's what they've done. Now let me show you how they've done it. We've just confirmed how Greg Miskill knew all about it. You know, he knew all the workings and how the information was gleaned. And all. Yeah, I bet you do, mate. Millie was phone tapped. And you knew before, during and after. Before what? Before what? Because I thought you lot got involved to help find her. Yeah, from the 10th. Bullshit. 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 On the day she went missing, you was already phone tapping her. Why? That's the question, isn't it? Why? And how have you lied to the public and have them believe it all? I'm going to show you how you've done it. Right, so we go back over here. This is Millie's school. Heathside School. And look what runs down the side of it. A cemetery. As a matter of fact, you come straight out the front gates of the school and right in front of you is a cemetery. So let's just go up here. See if this will let me. How'd you get to the bloody? I don't remember going that far down. I'm rubbish with this map thing here, by the way. So, but forgive me. Up here, innit? It'll be up there. Yeah, it should be up there, wouldn't it? There you go. There's the front of the school there. Right. So, I believe on the Thursday, the 21st, she came out of that school and never made it to the station. She come out of that school. She come out and she walked down there. She would have walked down there. Hey, look at this road. Yeah, now there would have been some people about. Of course there would have. The school's just emptied out. But what's to say there ain't someone down here with a car? What's to say that? Zoom in a bit. She's got to walk down there. All this greenery around. There's a lot of greenery around. And then, look. There's a cemetery there. So, you have got a route, right? That's what it looks like there. You can see that, right? And then a cemetery right there. Now, what's to say that cemetery over there, they didn't keep her body over there for 6 months until they then planted it in Yateley Heath Woods as a skull and bones. I didn't know there was a cemetery right next to the school. I just get a weird feeling when I look at it. I just get a weird feeling. She would have had to have walked down there. That's where she would have gone. That's what the walk looks like. Now let's go back to the picture. We'll come off of Greg there. Let's go back to the picture. So here's the picture. So she would have walked. The blue line is the route. So starting at Heathside School, that is looking straight down now. Right? That's what you got. So she would have continued straight down now. It's a 4-minute drive, and it's a 0.8 mile walk from the school to Weybridge Station. So now the way that when they do documentaries on this, which is the Millie Dowler Taken, right? Here's how they've done it. Now watch.
CCTV shows the schoolgirls entering the station at...
Right. So here's schoolgirls entering the station. Nothing unusual about that, right? Now, I don't believe this, what you're seeing now, hence why they've blurred out all the rest of it in the background, because then no one can really pick themselves out or identify themselves, because they say, no, that was a different day. So they do this to the footage. A bit like the Robert Kellaway footage when they blank it out on the documentary also. Why don't they leave his name in there? You've all seen that, right? You see me go mad about that. Why have they blanked his name out? Or changed it to Sarah Arnold? Same process going on here. Except you're not questioning it at this point. You're watching it on a documentary thinking, well, they wouldn't lie, would they? There's Millie. I'm putting it to whoever's out there covering this up that this is not Millie at the station on that day. After school on the 21st of March. This is where the footage has started to be manipulated, because they need Millie, as you're going to see. Let me carry this on.
And on the platform. This is the last time Millie's seen on camera.
We'd spoken about...
Was she on her phone then as well? Did she look like she was on her phone now? Is she on her phone?
This is the last time Millie's seen on camera.
We'd spoken about the fact that we hadn't had a catch-up in a little while.
Right, now, straight away, this is the friend that's supposed to be with her, yeah? Who's gone to the chip stall with her at the station. This girl here is the whole reason, according to the official story, that Millie goes out of her normal train journey and goes straight home and has gone to this chip stall, right? They need her placed at this chip stall. There's no video evidence supporting it, apart from what they just showed you just now, which could be any day of the bloody week, right? If the truth be known. This bird, I believe, is lying. Sorry, but that's just how you come across. I'm a human being. I have feelings and emotions. And what I read from this person is crisis actor. Don't believe, or if she does know her, then my belief would be, well, she belongs to a family just like what the Dowlers are like then. And this is a network of paedophilic families, and that's what they're all down their phone tapping them for. So it's pretty bloody obvious, really. You're either a crisis actor or you're in on it, this bird here. So she takes her to the chip stall, except just get that out of your head, because this chip stall never happens. There's no evidence to support Millie on that train track at that Walton station or coming out of there at 4:08. There's nothing to support it. Absolutely nothing. And when there is a camera, it was facing the Bird's Eye building wall. Bullshit. None of this marries up. She wasn't there that day. You've let her go to school that day. Right? What was there? An argument? The night before? Wednesday night. Wednesday, the 20th of March. Was there a big argument in the Dowler house? Did Millie say the unthinkable to her parents? I'm going to tell. Where does that leave these parents then? Because it's not just about them. You think all of these people have done all this covering up in a documentary just to help Bob Dowler? No. No. But you would do all of this if Millie was part of Jonathan King's paedophile ring. That's what I'm saying. And her dad knows. Of course he knows. That's what I believe. And this is all lies. She never makes it from school to the train station, in my opinion, in my view. And there's plenty of opportunity to take her on the way. And if you've just had a row on the Wednesday night on the 20th, and she says, I'm going to tell, then whoever took her after school down that lane made sure she never got to that train station and never saw the light of day ever again. Right? Now, there's something interesting coming up. Listen.
And that it was well overdue, so we decided that we'd walk to the train station together. She was in a really good, playful, fun mood. The two of us were bouncing off each other as usual. We got off at Walton. That's not normally the stop that she'd get off at.
No CCTV footage on trains or anything, no eyewitnesses, nothing, just close friend again. Yeah, this never happened, this bit. Where's the footage of her coming off the train on the train tracks there? Where is it?
I said to her, would she like to come off and get some chips from the cafe? And after a bit of banter between the two...
Right, there'd be footage here, wouldn't there? She just got off the train, there'd be cameras up and down that thing. Where's the footage? There ain't none, exactly.
She agreed that she'd come and join me.
She agreed that she'd come and join me. You don't talk like that, right? It's just bullshit. Right, important part coming up. So now she's at Walton Station, according to the official version of events. And she's with that friend, Hannah, who looks like a crisis actor to me. Yeah. She don't look nothing like the bird from back in the day. And they're going to a chip stall, right? Now, I'm going to show you why they need Millie to be at that chip stall. And also, the same excuse also accounts for, well, she was last seen there. So there's no video footage and no proof, apart from a phone call.
So we went into the cafe. There were a couple of other boys there from our school, but the two of us sat together and, again, discussed more about boys and various other things.
At 3:47, Millie phoned home.
She never had credit, so...
Even with a laugh on it, she never had credit. Well, the police soon put some credit on her phone later, didn't they?
We borrowed one of the boys that was in the cafe. We borrowed his phone.
We borrowed one of the boys in the cafe. We borrowed his phone. Right, well, we're going to have to take everyone's word for that, aren't we? Because Millie couldn't have rung off of her phone. She didn't have any credit. What about your phone? Didn't you have a phone? The friend? Didn't she have a phone? No, couldn't do that, because then we could trace things. No. Bob Dowler, at 3:47 p.m. on the 21st of March, received a call on his phone, right? From a random mobile number. 347. That'd probably work out about right that Millie's just left the school, and whoever's been given the job to take her on that walk from the school to the station, I'm suggesting at this point in the story, has rung Bob Dowler and told him, don't worry, we've got her. That's what that call's about. Because can we trace that call? Do we know these boys' names whose phone she borrowed? No. And I bet if we tried to look into that mobile phone number there now, it'd be an unregistered one-to-one number, wouldn't it? Yeah, of course it would. Another dead end. Just like the bird's eye camera facing the fucking wall while Gemma Dowler's best mate is getting on the bus. 33 seconds later, Millie's gone. Yeah, as it turns out, nothing. Bullshit. We've been to Belfields. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And if he drove round in a red Daewoo, that twice as much didn't happen. Because she's walking up the right side of the road and he's driving up the left side of the road. What did he do? Pull round the bus that her friend was getting on, jump out, grab her, throw her in the car with oncoming traffic coming to him from the other side of the road, and then pull off before the bus pulled off. Fuck off. Yeah, that didn't happen either. So you've used a covert human intelligence resource to take the dairy for your story that really is to do with a massive paedophile ring, with Jonathan King taking the dairy for it. But it's much bigger than that. It's much bigger than just him. It's who they were supplying to is the problem. You think all these people are coming to protect Bob Dowler? Nah, man. Millie was part of Jonathan King's ring. And it weren't no new thing. Right? It weren't no new thing. And why the News of the World phone tapping her before anything's even happened? Yeah, it's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it? I know what happened before, during and after. Before what? What happened before? She went missing, you lot went to her mobile and found her, didn't you? No, it was much more than that. The News of the World know what happened to this girl, and they've chosen to keep their mouth shut. And then to make things worse, they bring in Jeremy Payne, the copper that put Jonathan King away. And this has got nothing to do with Jonathan King and his ring, no? Bollocks. What I do know is Bob Dowler gets a call on the 21st of March 2002 to his mobile from a random. That weren't Millie calling. That was the person calling to say, we've done it, we've got her. Because Millie was never at that chip stall. She was never there. And then what do we get? What's going on at that same time? Well, Bob Dowler became aroused in the petrol garage on the way home and subsequently had a wank on a bed. Doesn't say his bed. No, that would have been on Millie's bed, I suspect. Which is why the police would have been so hell-bent on bugging Bob Dowler and thinking that he was going to lead them to his daughter's body. I mean, let's face it, he's got bondage equipment upstairs. Yeah? What, you liked her short skirt, did you, Bob? Yeah? You ain't fooling no one with this story. She never made it to the train station. Weybridge train station. She never made it there. You're showing us footage from another day where she just looks the same because she's got the same uniform on every day. That's why you've blurred out everyone else in the picture, because then they can't even pick out what day of the week it was when they was there. And you can't have any conflicting evidence. She never made it to that train station. And that country lane bit that you got to walk up next to a cemetery, what'd you do? Put her body over there for 6 months? Let it go off and then go and dump it up in Yateley Heath Woods, yeah? Is that what you did? I bet you did. I bet you had the keys to one of them crypts or something over in that cemetery. And I bet you left the body over there. Who's going to know? Who's going to go and search a fucking crypt? Who's going to do that? Tell me. Yeah? I bet that's what they did. That's my feeling, Mark, because I did not know you come out to school to a cemetery. I did not know that. Yeah. So let's carry on now.
Hey, Dad. It's Millie.
She made a phone call to her dad to tell him that she'd be home late.
No evidence of this whatsoever. No evidence of this whatsoever. This is all based on what they tell us and based on your trust on, well, her friend, she wouldn't lie, would she?
It's something that we would always do so that they didn't worry.
No, that supports that they're a loving family and that there's no paedophilia taking place.
Yeah, no, I'll be home for tea.
Just like Greg Miskill. And, you know, it had nothing to do with Surrey Police. Yeah, they're at the centre of everything. Manipulating the footage from the train station, everything. Don't worry, Bob, we'll sort this. Because it's bigger than them. It's a fucking paedophile ring.
Are you ready? Come on.
Well, my sister arrived and
if they take this video down, like they have done just on the last one, then take it as they're all guilty, please. Because how many more times can they do this? So if they do it again on this one, you know what time it is, yeah? That's all I'm saying.
didn't want to wait around at the cafe, so she ushered us out quite quickly.
I'll see you tomorrow.
None of this ever happened.
Okay.
I said to her, will you be all right walking home on your own? We were all looked after each other, but we live in a nice area. It was broad daylight. She was walking along a main road. Obviously, I double-checked with her, and the question itself seemed silly.
No, that's lies. Even just put, why would you, you know, there's no reason for you to say that. She's fucking 3/4 of a mile up the road, like, even the fact you saying that, no.
She laughed and just said, don't be ridiculous, I'll be absolutely fine. There was no reason why she shouldn't have been. And that was the last time that I saw her.
Liar. Liar. That's a lie. She has completely made that up. She's completely made that up. Didn't happen that day. Might have happened another day, but it didn't happen that day. It didn't happen that day. No. She never made it to Weybridge Station from her school, trust me. And that call that she gets at 3:47, or that call that she pretends to make at 3:47, no, that's the police covering Bob Dowler for this random call from a random number on his phone. That's what that is, I suspect. Yeah. Because 3:47, what time do they kick out of school? Can't be much before that. He's got the call to say, we've got her. So that means the night before, there must have been some sort of an argument. And she's threatened to tell. So whoever's took her between her school and Weybridge Station is also the same person that has made her do the goodbye letter. Because it would have had to have been done then. And this girl was going to say something. And that's why she's dead.
Millie left the station just after 4.
Yeah, well, show us some CCTV then. You can't. Right. Because she wasn't fucking there, that's why.
Setting off alone down Station Avenue.
There you go. Alone, no eyewitnesses, nothing. And by going in the chip stall, that you didn't go in, you've given it time for, well, there's not many people on the road, which is what Catherine in a minute, Gemma Dowler's best mate, but someone they say Millie knows vaguely. No, I don't think so. If Millie, according to this very documentary, and her very own sister is saying, oh, she started sleeping in with me, we got really close. Millie don't want to sleep in her bed. Why? Because one of the things that DCI Gibson aroused him to the point so much of arresting Bob Dowler and bugging him was that they found sperm on her clothes or on her bed. So obviously, who are you gonna, you know what I mean? Who are you gonna accuse? You're gonna accuse her dad, aren't you? And why would you save the dad? You wouldn't go to all this trouble just to save the dad. Well, he's a Mason and there's a bigger paedophile ring there. Right? I suggest. Right? All making sense now? Good.
At 8 minutes past, a friend of Gemma's waiting at the bus stop spotted her.
Right. Now, you've seen my documentary. You've seen me sit on that exact bus stop. Right? Now, listen to what Catherine says.
I was just there waiting for my bus, and Millie was walking on the other side of the road.
Right, she's on the other side of the road. Right, Millie's on the right side of the road. She's standing over there on the left, waiting for her bus. After she spots Millie at 4:08, which didn't happen, let's find out what happens next.
And it must have been within 30 seconds, maybe up to a minute.
What do you mean, 33 seconds? Right, so look at this bus pulling up.
That my bus came round to pick me up.
So she's saying about 30 odd seconds later, let's say, the bus is coming down there. So Millie's still in sight at this point, yeah? Unless she wants to say, oh, the bus stop bit there was covering, I couldn't see. She's walking down the road on the other side. Yeah, now the bus comes along and she's going to get on the bus. Yeah, she's going to get on the bus. So where's Belfield's red Daewoo at this point? Yeah, is it coming up the road now behind the bus? Is it going to go round the bus, quickly swoop up Millie, time she gets on the bus, or the car drives up the road? Can't see her, you know. Because the red Daewoo would need to go driving past the bus now.
And looked out for her.
Only her getting on the bus. Now she's looked up there and Millie's gone. So if there was a red Daewoo, how fucking quick like lightning would he have to be? Plus, she's walking up that side of the road there, the other side of the road. Well, if Belfield's driving, he's on the same side of the road as this bus. So he's parked up on the left then as he jumped out, grabbed her, put her in the car and drove off all before this bus was pulled off. Wicked. Brilliant timing, isn't it? And the bird's eye camera's facing the wall. I mean, how well did you time that? You know? Brilliant, isn't it?
At the time, obviously didn't think too much of it, thought it was a bit strange. Thought that I would have seen her walking if her intention was to go home.
Now you're going to cause doubt. Oh, maybe she wasn't going home. Maybe she was going to see Belfield and that. Bullshit.
But at that time, you don't really think too much into it. So that's what happened, and I just carried on and went home.
You believe that? Do you believe that? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So, yeah, I'm glad that hit me about the phone call. 3:47. Millie was never in this chip stall, ever. And it don't make any sense anyway. She's stuffing her face with chips, but then she's going home for tea. You've just ate chips. She don't look like a big girl. Do you know what I mean? No, it's lies. They needed Millie at that chip stall because the call that Bob Dowler gets on his phone, they, cleverly, after much, collusion, thought, I know, what we can do is that call that you get, Bob, that anonymous one on your phone, will say Millie called you from the chip stall, but she had no credit, and so therefore she used someone else's phone. Oh, can we see whose phone she used? Well, no. Why? Well, we don't know his name, and no one bothered to question him. Well, it's a bit silly, isn't it, really? Because if you believe that Belfield killed Millie down that road, he was in the car or he pounced out of that bush, how would he know she was coming down the road? She don't never get off that stop. So how would he know? He wouldn't. So your story's lies. Unless, didn't the police question the boy in case he had some relation to Belfield and it was him that informed her she was coming down the road? No, we didn't think to ask that. You see? No. The truth of it is she never made it to the train station from school. Now the mates or crisis actors have had to come in and start saying, this is what happened. But there's no video footage of it and there's no proof anywhere. There's none. We got to take their word for it. So after everything I've shown you, do you believe them? Why would the News of the World tap in a 13-year-old schoolgirl's phone if it wasn't that she was part of Jonathan King's paedophile ring because of his connections to Walton and high-up paedophiles? You telling me it weren't nothing to do with that? Sorry, mate. And all them paedophiles in that area, and it's this lone wolf Levi Belfield that no one's ever heard of. And you pull up he's drinking partners with the Paines. So you've give this geezer a wide berth for 11 years because 2011, 23rd of June, he gets guilty for the murder of Millie Dowler. But really, you've given him a wide berth since 2000 because he's drinking partners with Michael Payne, and you never thought to question Levi Belfield in conjunction to the disappearance of Sarah Payne. And you lot are good at your jobs. It's bullshit. That's why you're all in on this. You've all covered it up, and that is why my case isn't sorted, because there's probably going to be that message, on my fucking Mulcare notes. The phone call to Bob Dowler's phone. You was tapping him. It's all admitted. It's all in the mainstream. Why was you tapping him? What led you to believe that he was the one that killed Millie in the first place? What led you there? And then what's the blunder? There weren't no blunders. You turned it into a blunder. Oh, and you got rid of DCI Gibson, and what's he done? He done nothing wrong. Actually, what he done was he done his job right. And then the top brass start sending in your Jeremy Paynes and your, the copper that fucking put Jonathan King away. And he's got nothing to do with his case. Well, why would you bring him in specifically then? It's a bit close to home, isn't it? So, yeah, there you go. Millie Dowler, in my view, my opinion, was part of Jonathan King's paedophile ring. Now, why are they tapping me? Why am I of interest? Well, my manager was Tom Watkins, who managed E17, and he was Jonathan King's best friend. Yeah? So tell me I haven't had a paedophile ring around me, targeting me, for the past fucking 30 years. Yeah? And now it's time for them to get a bit of their own fucking shit back. Yeah? Yeah. You've been caught out. Yeah, you've been caught. Yeah? You may be leaving some of my other videos up because there may be some of the information might be wrong. Because I now don't believe she was killed days before. I believe you let her go to school that day because it all looks good for your story. But your story starts getting fabricated between her leaving school and getting to Weybridge Station. And that's where the police take the footage from the train stations, manipulate it and say, this is the last we've seen of her. Bullshit. 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 Why would the News of the World tap in a 13-year-old schoolgirl's phone? Why she was alive, if it ain't got nothing to do with Jonathan King and his paedophile ring? Answer me that. I'll leave it there. See you later, everyone. Let's see if this video gets taken down.